150 goals. Fit again Ashley Cole named among the substitutes for the first time since early October. 3 changes for Steve McClaren. In came Chris Riggott, Andrew Taylor and Fabio Rockenbach as Southgate was injured, Pogatetz suspended and Cattermole dropped to the bench. Commentary at Highbury from Brian Marwood and Rob Hawthorne.
And so it is Middlesbrough who get the game underway, precariously close to the relegation area and facing a difficult task here against an Arsenal team that, for all their struggles away from home, have been in good form here. Their 49-match unbeaten run in the Premiership ended at Old Trafford last season, and in the 49 matches since, they've suffered 11 defeats. Steve McClaren will hope that the 50th brings a 12th defeat today. Andrew Taylor, now Mendieta, and this is Taylor, who's 19 and a product of a highly effective youth system in which they've brought through quite a few youngsters, many of whom have been recognised by England at youth levels. Brian Marwood?
Well, I think that's really been down to Dave Parnaby and his team at the academy, Rob, that done a fantastic job. And I have to say, everyone that's been blooded into this Middlesbrough side seem to have acclimatised extremely well to life in the Premier League. I saw Middlesbrough play Newcastle over the new year, and one of the emerging talents, Lee Cattermole, made his debut, and he was absolutely outstanding that day at St James's Park.
Well, the right back we just saw there, Stuart Parnaby, is the son of that academy director. He's come through the youth system. So too has Matthew Bates. 3 of the back 4 have emerged, and in midfield on the right-hand side they've got the young northeasterner James Morrison, another part of that Youth Cup winning team from 2004.
It's quite interesting when you talk about youth policy. You know, let's not forget the job that Arsene Wenger is doing here at Arsenal to develop some outstanding young talent. A couple of signings already this week for the future.
Here's Freddie Ljungberg. Now Gilberto. The aim was for Fabregas. It was broken up though by Doriva, and this is Mendieta trying to unleash Yakubu.
Well, it was the right sort of idea, wasn't it? You can see Yakubu getting himself between Senderos and Sigan. And, Yakubu scored enough goals to suggest that he's going to have a very long and fruitful career at Middlesbrough.
One of those goals he scored was against Arsenal in the victory at the Riverside back in September, a defeat Arsenal hope to avenge here today. Gilberto looks to spread it to Reyes. It's carried into the path of Ljungberg, and Jones in the Borough goal gets his first test, and he's up to the test.
Well, it's a decent save by the goalkeeper. It's a mistake really from Stuart Parnaby, just trying to stretch out a leg, divert it into the path of Ljungberg. It's a decent enough strike, but you'll be disappointed if your goalkeeper doesn't make that sort of save from there. And certainly give Brad Jones plenty of confidence coming into the side now instead of Mark Schwarzer, who wants to get away from Middlesbrough.
Crosses by Morrison. It's too deep for Viduka, but Lauren has to shepherd it away to safety with Yakubu loitering.
Morrison's certainly been in form in recent weeks, Rob. I've seen Middlesbrough a number of occasions over the last 2 months, and he really has been a threat on that right-hand side with his pace, and I'm sure enough there to cause Sigan problems.
Mendieta's corner was helped on, but then steered wide by Bates.
Decent chance, you know. Comes at Bates very quickly. A little flick from Morrison at that near post, just stabs out his right leg, trying to divert it through a ruck of players.
Bates, like Taylor and Morrison, only 19 years of age. Not an ideal situation for Middlesbrough with which to approach such a difficult match. Mendieta. Here's Gilberto. Now Senderos. This is Pascal Sigon, who continues to cover at left back, although Ashley Cole obviously getting closer to the first team. He's on the bench today. Now Reyes, Henry, Pires. Good movement from Arsenal. They've picked out Freddie Ljungberg. Long way round, but the shot takes a block from Riggett in the end to clear it. And a real warning then about the sort of quality that Arsenal are always capable of.
Well, they've got terrific passing abilities within this side, Rob, and it's actually the pace that they pass the ball around that gives any side problems. And I think one of Arsenal's problems this season is that when they have passed the ball well, they haven't really finished off moves that have carved chances, and the opportunity they just had there with Freddie Ljungberg was just a little taster of what you're likely to expect, and really it's just the experience against young Taylor. Taylor bought the dummy from Ljungberg, but there was enough defenders that really cope with the situation.
Mendieta delivers with a kick, and Seagon made a bit of a hash of it, but in the end got away with it.
Well, Henry's not moving particularly comfortably. It was a couple of minutes earlier when he got a knock in his back. I think it was against Chris Riggett, and he's still feeling the effects of that challenge.
Helped on by Yakubu to Viduka, and Johan Joru with a clearance. It's Riggett's header. Back by Fabio Rockenbach to Taylor. Now Doriva. Tried to angle it through for Viduka, but Lauren was in the way. And this is Gilberto. Now Fabregas to Pires. Ball through from Reyes. Bates and Parnaby very nearly got themselves in a problem. They have, in fact. It was a handball in the end, I think.
Well, I think the referee thought that Arsenal might be able to take advantage from the situation, but instead there was no real clear advantage for the home side, and this really is Thierry Henry territory. It's his favoured side. Important that the goalkeeper, Brad Jones, gets the wall absolutely spot on. So this is an opportunity for him to go either side, really, and we've seen him score from this position enough times in the past to suggest that he could go close again.
One goal in his last 8 games, a lean spell by Thierry Henry's standards. Could that be about to change? Fully focused, Henry against the wall. Header back out to Pires, who switches it intelligently. This is Reyes. Lauren. Fabregas.
It's very intricate. Sorry, Rob. It's very intricate time, isn't it, from Arsenal? You can see that they are, not that confident of throwing the ball into the box because they haven't really got that heightened power. So they're always trying to work little openings through very narrow gaps.
Good control by Henry. He's onside Ljungberg, and Parnaby shuttled across in front crucially.
Good decision from the referee's assistant. Pires was clearly offside. Ljungberg wasn't.
Gilberto goes long, too long.
Well, Ljungberg's causing them problems at the moment. Just the sheer fact of his movement, coming in from the right-hand side and just having a little flurry amongst the strikers. This is what he does very well. Freddie Ljungberg, very difficult to deal with. You can see there Pires in an offside position. Ljungberg wasn't. Some frantic defending at the moment from Middlesbrough. Parnaby on that occasion.
Back by Joru, it fell short.
It's a nervous back pass, wasn't it? Very nervous back pass. There's a Swiss colleague, Philippe Senderos, just dealing with the danger. A young player, still learning his trade.
We talked about Middlesbrough having a young team, but it's a very young heart to that Arsenal defence with Senderos 20, Joru just 18.
He's looked quite lively, hasn't he, Freddie Ljungberg? Been in and out this season through injury. This season, certainly not registered as many goals as he's tended to do in the past, and that's part of his game that he'll want to improve upon.
Hasn't got any in the Premiership so far. Offside there against Yakubu.
There's a decent line. Yakubu always looking to work the space in behind any back four. Clever little flick from Viduka.
Senderos. Eased off the ball by Yakubu.
Well, he's a powerful player, isn't he, Yakubu? Senderos is certainly no shrinking violet neither, so an interesting decision from the referee's assistant on that side. Wasn't altogether convinced it was a free kick.
Here's Ljungberg. Looking for Henry, it was a killer ball, and Jones came and managed to scoop it away.
Well, Ljungberg is a clear danger at the moment for Middlesbrough. No real surprise that he's testing the youngster Andrew Taylor on that Arsenal right-hand side, getting a little bit of joy, not only when he's keeping in this wide position, close to the touchline, but also when he's having that run across the back four of Middlesbrough. You don't really know who to pick up.
Reyes. Henry has managed to get in front of Bates. Reyes comes in as the referee plays an advantage the first time, but he'll bring it back for the second foul.
Well, it wasn't the smartest of challenges, was it, from Matthew Bates? I'd be amazed if Rob Stiles doesn't give him a yellow card. It was wild, it was reckless. Good play from Henry, working the opening with his strike partner. Clever play from Reyes, just trying to work some space and get that ball onto his favoured left foot. It's interesting what Middlesbrough may do with this free kick, because on the last one it was Parnaby that dropped very quickly from the wall onto the post to try and protect one side of the goal for Brad Jones.
Henry's last free kick went into the wall. He and Perez debating the options here. Henry! Oh!
Well, that must have been very close. He knows that, and I tell you what, Brad Jones knows it also. You can see Parnaby drops to try and cover that post to allow Jones to make sure that he's covering the other angle, and that was curling, it was coming back all the time. Might have just touched the post. How many times have we seen Henry either score or go close from situations like that over the years?
Taylor. Yakubu backing into Senderos.
He's had a couple of situations now where Yakubu's not particularly happy with the referee, Rob Stiles.
Viduka. Parnaby. Morrison offside.
That's careless. That youngster, bit of inexperience. You can see right across the line, Rob. Just needs to bide his time. He's got pace, a lot of space to run into. Just got to be patient.
Here's Lauren. Looking for Henry. Bates with a header, but straight onto the toe of Reyes!
Getting close, isn't it? Free kick from Henry. Strike there from Reyes on the edge of the box. Got such outstanding home form. Arsenal only lost to Chelsea in the league. Such a difficult side to play against, and Reyes getting room on the edge of the box. It was a poor header from Matthew Bates, just dragging his strike wide of the goal, but enough there to interest Brad Jones.
Well, Reyes scored what turned out to be Arsenal's consolation goal at the Riverside Stadium, one of two goals he scored against Middlesbrough. That loss back in September, the only one Arsenal have suffered against today's opponents in the last 9. They'd won the previous 8 games against them. Mendieta, now Viduka. Doriva tried to line it up for Rockenbach. Mendieta doing his best to retrieve it, and he's done that. Here's Viduka. Morrison was round the back, but Seagon got his head to it. Fabregas to Pires. Arsenal looking to play their way out of trouble. And they've managed it. It's Ljungberg. Henry up to his right. Reyes. Now they look to Henry. Usually losing out, but the determination to win it back from young Taylor. And he's off Henry.
Good covering from Deriva. Just spotted the danger, really. A bit unfortunate there, Reyes. He looked as if he won the challenge quite comfortably against Andrew Taylor. It's very difficult opening period for the youngster at left back. He has been tested 2 or 3 occasions by Ljungberg, that time by Henry. It's probably the intent of which Reyes went for the ball that just did enough to persuade Rob Stiles. It was a free kick against the youngster, but great work by Henry, and then once he was up and he was away, there was no catching him.
Gilberto. Reyes to Henry. He's found Lauren. This could be a long afternoon for Middlesbrough's young defence. Now they're getting into their stride. Rockenbach. Senderos. Reyes.
Well, they're just turning up the pressure a wee bit, aren't they? Obstruction against Reyes, against Rob Stiles, trying to allow the advantage to the home team. Under a lot of pressure. It's an inexperienced back four that Middlesbrough have had to play today, and they really are under the cosh at the moment.
We're not too far past the quarter of an hour mark, and the young players know they are already in a fierce game, a difficult game. Reyes ball in. Headed goals from Henry are a collector's item anyway. This one's over.
He's not famed, is he, from scoring headed goals? Decent free kick, isn't it, from Reyes? Just easing it in towards the danger area. Again, a difficult one for defenders to deal with.
3 goals short now, Thierry Henry, of Cliff Bastin's league goal-scoring record. You wouldn't put it past him to score a hat-trick necessarily. He's got, I think it's 7 already for Arsenal.
He's been struggling in recent weeks. You know, he's had this persistent Achilles tendon problem, Rob, that you know, he's not been at full tilt within training games, and certainly in match days. I think Arsene Wenger has tried to rest him when he's had the opportunity. That's namely came in the form of the Carling Cup. Just going back to this inexperienced Middlesbrough back four, and of course you'd have to include the goalkeeper as well in that, because he hasn't played too many first-team games. They've got a lot of experience in front of them in the shape of Mendieta, Rockenbach and Deriva, and it's important those 3 in particular start protecting this back four.
Here's Riggott. Now Bates. They're dicing with danger here. Pires saw his moment and pounced.
Well, that was arguably the most experienced player in the back four, Chris Riggott, giving a horrendous ball to Matthew Bates, and then Stuart Parnaby again. That's 2 or 3 occasions when he's dealt with the situation when it needed tidying up.
Huge clearance. Lehmann's come and got there ahead of Gaisca Mendieta. Gilberto. Away by Riggott. Henry. Ljungberg.
Well, he's always prepared to come up with something a little bit different, isn't he, Thierry Henry? That's what makes him special, Rob. That's what makes him such a delight to watch, whether you're an Arsenal fan or any fan around the country.
Seagull. Gilberto. I think that's how it's got to be, isn't it, for Middlesbrough? No nonsense defending.
Well, in the position that they are, I mean, I saw them over the New Year period against Newcastle. Actually, a game they should have won. And, you know, they are hovering just above the bottom three. Only sort of 5 points, if you like, from that sort of relegation zone.
Ljungberg. Henry! Unstoppable! Absolutely unstoppable!
What a finish. Just have a look at the concentration on the face of Thierry Henry when this ball comes into the danger area from Freddie Ljungberg. And I have to say, it's come down this right-hand side of Arsenal yet again. They really have given the youngster Andrew Taylor a torrid time. He hasn't had too much support, I have to say, from Gaisca Mendieta, but he just bides his time, Ljungberg, and picks out a delightful ball, but the finish is pure quality. He just makes sure, Thierry Henry, that he makes the right sort of contact. It really is the contact that will beat any goalkeeper. The accuracy at which he places this ball in towards the corner is unerring. And Bates just almost gets out of the way of the strike from Henry, but saying that, nothing was going to stop the strike from Thierry Henry. And we've seen and we've marvelled at the goals in his time at Arsenal. He never seems to score a bad goal, does he?
He's not one for the tap-in. Here's Reyes. Pires. Fabregas! Jones got a touch.
Well, he saw it late and he was scrambling in the end, wasn't he, Brad Jones? Having plenty to do in this first half. And it's becoming too easy, really. And that's why I was saying you need to get that protection in front of the back four. We've seen Ljungberg, we've seen Fabregas, we've seen Gilberto, we've seen Pires have far too much room.
Well, a rare lapse from the corner, but they'll get the opportunity to retake it anyway. The mood Arsenal are in, though, you fear for Middlesbrough.
Well, it's amazing they can turn in performances like this at Highbury and then struggle so badly away from home. What is it up before today? 25 points out of 30 at home, 9 points out of 30 away. I mean, it's an incredible contrast. And
Senderos makes it 2. Only his second goal for the club, his first ever at Highbury in the final season at Highbury. This could be a long afternoon for Middlesbrough.
Well, there's one thing, you're conceding goals from open play, and that's just down to sheer brilliance. But there's another thing, conceding goals from set pieces, and if you don't set up right and you're not prepared to compete, like we've just seen there from Middlesbrough, then this is what the net result's going to be. That's a very easy and comfortable header for Senderos. Appalling marking. Steve McClaren will be absolutely furious that no one really has picked up the young Swiss defender.
He scored at West Brom in October, and now Philip Senderos scores his first goal at Highbury. Ljungberg. Ljungberg all smiles, Arsenal all smiles. Even this early on, it's hard to see a route back into the game for the visitors.
Well, they're just so dominant, aren't they, in every department of the football pitch. Whether it's the back, midfield and up top, they really have led Middlesbrough a merry dance, and it's going to be very difficult for Steve McClaren's side now just to dig in and have belief that they can get anything out of this football match. You know, you almost think now, after 25 minutes of football, it's a damage limitation exercise.
Not a happy position for the Middlesbrough manager to be in. His first ever game in charge of Middlesbrough was a 4-0 defeat by Arsenal, and really you could be looking at that or anything above that, the way the first quarter of this match has gone.
Well, they've got half a chance if they can get the front two in the game, because they've got enough about them, Viduka and Yakubu, to cause the two young defenders, Senderos and Giroud, some problems. But they just can't get the ball at the moment, Middlesbrough, to even get any decent service into Viduka and Yakubu. So because of that, as we said already, after 25 minutes, it's going to be an awful long afternoon for Steve McClaren's side. The fact is that they've no win in the last 7 Premier League games. This looks as if it's going to be 8.
Blow to the face for Yakubu, which is why Arsenal put the ball into touch. But Middlesbrough still reeling from this.
Well, it's ironic actually, because the referee made Arsenal take this corner kick again, but that's appalling. At this level, any level, you don't give players any time and room in the box. You have to get close to them, and when you look at the room that was afforded to Senderos, you know, that's going to be the net result. It's a goal to Arsenal. 2-0 ahead in a comfortable position.
Two blows to Middlesbrough in the matter of just over a couple of minutes. And a further blow to them here with the knot that Yakubu has taken, which has led to a slight swelling.
Well, the only danger to Arsenal, Rob, is Arsenal. It's their complacency if they do get into that mode of playing. Their passing has been frightening at times. You know, they've made a lot of good decisions on the football pitch. There's talk of Thierry Henry wondering whether he's going to finish his career here at Highbury. He wants to see Arsene Wenger show some ambition in the transfer market, bring in one or two big players to go with some of the talented youngsters that they're building here at Highbury.
Here's Parnaby. Seagull. Now Pires. Given away to Mendieta. Mendietta's vision is possibly the thing that could open up Arsenal. He's found Viduka here, and Mendieta has got forward when Viduka takes it on himself.
Well, is that their first strike on goal? I mean, they haven't had too much of note in the final third. Viduka, I remember him scoring a goal in a spectacular fashion at Birmingham, was it, this season, from a Simba angle, but they need to come up with something pretty special, Middlesbrough, to get back into this football match.
Well, he's scored twice in Leeds victories here, Mark Viduka, including the last defeat that Arsenal suffered before they went on that phenomenal 49-match unbeaten run. Then, during that period, they were looking invincible. Some of that invincibility peeled away following the Old Trafford defeat, but certainly at home they're starting to get their all-conquering qualities back.
The disappointing factor when I'm watching this Middlesbrough performance at the moment, Rob, is that no one really is looking to make any challenges against these Arsenal players. It's just too comfortable.
Ljungberg.
Again, Taylor doesn't get close to Ljungberg. The pass that Pires made out to Ljungberg wasn't really challenged. No real threat, and if you allow the likes of Pires and Ljungberg, Fabregas, Gilberto just to strut this stuff in the middle of the park, then they will pick out good quality passes to the front too.
Henry. Reyes touch. Mendieta to Taylor. Rockenbach. Fabregas. Here's Reyes. Henry. Pires. Fabregas. Clearing header in the end by Yakubu. Viduka. Doriva. Pires. Reyes. And away goes Henry! His second, Arsenal's third, and they are rampant.
Well, it came about because Doriva gave the ball away. And once you do that against Arsenal, you've got bodies forward, then they really are the master of the counter-attack. And in Henry, they have pace in abundance. And once this ball from Reyes is released to him, the goalkeeper makes a very bold and quick decision to come an awful long way. He pays the price because Henry very much aware of where Brad Jones' position is, just has the comfortable task of slotting it past the Middlesbrough goalkeeper. This can be anything today, Rob. 3-0, half an hour played. It's turning into being a rout.
And it could be yet another special day, because it's only 3:30, only half an hour has gone, but Thierry Henry is now a goal away from equaling that league goal-scoring record of another Arsenal great, Cliff Bastin. He's already got the club goal-scoring record for all competitions.
Well, he's absolute phenomenon, isn't he, Thierry Henry? I think when you look at the way that he's played since he's come to Arsenal, Arsene Wenger plays huge faith in Thierry Henry, and that hasn't gone amiss from the striker. He has repaid him time and time again. You can see why they'll throw any amount of money to keep Thierry Henry here in North London, because he's special. He really is. And you can't put a price on that. The fact that Patrick Vieira's left this football club and it was a huge void to fill. You can imagine the void that would be created if Henry departed. And how do you begin to fill something of that nature?
I think part of the problem for anyone coming here is the fact that they would be saddled straight away with the tag of the new Henry, and Theo Walcott, who has been linked, is already getting that tag against his name now, and he's not even move here.
Well, you can hear the cheer. It's for Ashley Cole, and he may have to come on sooner than we think, because Sigan just feeling the top of his hamstring as he stretched to win that ball back against James Morrison. And Arsenal playing with 10 men at the moment. They can probably afford to play with a lot less, such as their dominance.
Fabregas has just dropped back to cover and left back as a temporary measure. Arsene Wenger's inclusion of Ashley Cole on the bench came with a quote reported from him in which he said he thought Cole might be good for about 30 minutes of action, but he might have to give him a little bit more than he'd intended. Here's Morrison.
It's not a bad game to come into though, Rob, is it? When you've got a lot of the ball, you're not really under that much pressure. So it's certainly one that will ease Ashley Cole back into full fitness. And I'm sure there's one man in the stand, Sven-Göran Eriksson, will be absolutely delighted to see Ashley Cole coming back into the fray.
Morrison. Gilberto. Doriva. Doriva, who gave the ball away for the third Arsenal goal.
Just can't get a foothold, can they? Doriva and Rockenbach. And I just think, Rob, if you're not going to be on the ball and allowed to dictate play, then you've got to really do other things, and that's closing people down, making challenges, and they just haven't done that. Tell you what a reception Ashley Cole will get. And you think that how maybe the fans were feeling towards him 6 months ago when he was involved in that alleged tapping up from Chelsea.
Lovely touch from Henry. Perez. Ljungberg. Carnaby got across, but more worries for Middlesbrough about the way it's also instinctive for Arsenal.
It's like watching the footballing equivalent of the Harlem Globetrotters. They really are exhibitionists at the moment, aren't they, Arsenal? Playing some wonderful stuff.
But it's a good exhibition without being showboating, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
skills for a purpose.
Yeah, very much so. There's an end product, Rob, and I always think sometimes Arsenal are guilty of not producing that end product. And I've seen them enough this season, especially away from home, where they'll have a spell of 25-30 minutes where they're really murder sides, and there's a little bit of fun now, isn't it, amongst their play. Just the fireman's lift from Yakubu on Freddie Ljungberg. They can smile about it.
Yakubu riding the Ljungberg rather, riding the yak. And here comes the moment that Arsenal fans have waited for, the return of Ashley Cole. 22 matches out with a broken foot. His return may be a little earlier than planned, but it's good news for Sven-Göran Eriksson, and it's good news for Arsenal.
Very much so, but this is a big test for him now. I think that when you get that sort of injury that he's had, you want to make sure that you know, the first tackle that you make or the first pass over a long distance is one that you have no reaction from. Hasn't had too much training under his belt, Rob, and Arsene Wenger was hoping to play him in a reserve team game during the week, but instead he's going to have around about 60 minutes of this football match to test that foot injury.
Pires, Henry, 2 goals for him already. Cole, Senderos, Lauren.
Oh, we talked about exhibition football, and here's another example. Wonderful little flick from Henry, fully aware of the position that Robert Pires had taken up.
Fabregas, Senderos. Even the youngster turning it on now, Giroud. A lot more confident than the manner in which he started the game. But that's what success breeds. Gilberto. Here's Morrison.
Well, it's a great environment for some of these youngsters like Giroud and Senderos and Fabregas to play within. I think the difficulty, if you look at Middlesbrough's youngsters, is they're a side under pressure, not just in this game, but during the season in general, because they're languishing towards the bottom of the table, they're not getting results, and it's very, very tough for young players to come into a side like that and really play to that optimum performance. They really are hoping that some of the more experienced players will help them out, and that's not happening at the moment.
November, and Middlesbrough's last Premiership victory against Fulham seems a long, long time ago now. Henry skillfully away from Yakubu. Ljungberg, Reyes darts ahead of him. Left for Ljungberg.
Well, then Freddie was guilty of a little bit of showboating, because he had enough time to pull the trigger and strike on goal. Wonderful link-up play with Reyes. Some of the interchange between some of these Arsenal players is breathtaking at times. And James Morrison just really trying to forge his way through a couple of Arsenal defenders, winning a free kick. Difficult afternoon for the likes of Morrison, working hard on that right-hand side for very little joy.
Back, who was linked with Arsenal at one stage as a potential Patrick Vieira replacement, has barely been able to get into this game.
Didn't I see his nickname the Terminator? Right. Surely that can't be for making tackles, is it?
Henry just tried to place that one, but got the direction wrong. Riggott. Doriva. Yakubu.
Just can't afford to keep giving the ball away like that, because it's just going to come straight back down their throats. And again, look at the room that Fabregas, then Reyes, and then Henry. That's just too comfortable, Rob, for the home side.
Henry turning provider this time, but the flag was up anyway against Pires. Doriva. Taylor. Aim from Morrison, but he's offside.
Well, I'm looking around at this Middlesbrough team at the moment, Rob. I don't see too many players that the chest are out, and they look as if they're focused on getting some sort of result here. Interesting, Steve McClaren just changed his formation. He's gone with Viduka as a spearhead, and Yakubu and Mendieta just playing a little bit behind.
Well, there is talk that he plans to rip up the blueprint, virtually start again in the summer. Steve McClaren, complete the dismantling of the team that did win the Carling Cup, the only major trophy they've ever won in their history.
I think he's had to, because you look at a lot of these players, the likes of Hegiog and Hasselbank. Of course, Hugo was moved to West Bromwich Albion, but Jimmy is still here. Talk about him moving. You know, there's a lot of experienced players towards the end of their career. Now, after that, you've got a lot of exciting youngsters, and there's probably not an awful lot in between, and that's where Steve has got to try and address the balance.
Here's Ashley Cole. Senderos. Henry. Perez. Gilberto. Ljungberg came inside, a rare misunderstanding
At the spot of the run, but again, some of the pathing is absolutely top quality. And while at times you can say how good Arsenal are playing, and I have to say there's a huge element that they've been allowed to play that way. I imagine there's going to be one or two harsh words said at half-time in that Middlesbrough dressing room.
Riggott. Well, they've got their FA Cup replay to come, after which they face Wigan at home, and then they've got a Tees-Weir derby as their next Premiership match after that at Sunderland. Reyes, fouled by Rockenbach. Cole. Ball from Fabregas looking for Reyes.
I think he's a bit unfortunate there, because I don't think Reyes is going to commit a foul. I think he's got eyes for the ball. It's going over the top of a defender. He doesn't know where Chris Riggott and the goalkeeper Brad Jones is. I'm sure what the communication was like between Jones and Riggott, but certainly Reyes had come off the worst in that challenge, Rob.
Well, Riggott missed the Nuneaton match with injury, a game for which Brad Jones was brought in ahead of Mark Schwarzer. It's been a rude awakening in the first team though for Jones. 3 goals past him already here.
Well, he had a difficult weekend last week, didn't he, against Nuneaton Borough. The youngster Brad Jones, very highly rated. Speaking to the goalkeeping coach, Paul Barron, thinks a lot about Brad Jones, and well, he's going to probably get a decent run in the side unless Steve McClaren brings in another goalkeeper, because it looks as if Mark Schwarzer is going to be leaving Teesside.
Schwarzer on the transfer list, claiming he needs a new challenge, but he is on the bench today. Cole. Senderos. Rockenbach flags up against Viduka.
He's just a bit lazy coming back, trying to get onside, Mark Viduka.
Ljungberg. Lauren. Fabregas. Giroud. Here's Ashley Cole. Reyes to Fabregas. Gilberto winning the header. Mendieta. Now Morrison. It's Viduka. Can get around Ashley Cole. On by Mendieta, but again the flag is up. Wouldn't have counted anyway. Doesn't count anyway.
Well, it looks to me as if James Morrison is offside, but Stuart Parnaby and the ball was meant for certainly wasn't. And maybe if Morrison had just checked his run, then the fullback might have got a little bit of joy. He's worked hard, Morrison. Without very little reward on that right-hand side.
Senderos.
I'm sure Sven was delighted that Ashley Cole came on as a substitute, otherwise he wouldn't have had any English players to watch in this Arsenal side, would he?
Reyes. Henry. It's Perez. He's gone for it. It's 4 before half-time.
I don't think Middlesbrough want to come out in the second half, do you? This has just been one-way traffic from the first minute to now the 47th. Wonderful finish though. Henry makes the run on the outside of Robert Perez, just does enough maybe to put off Matthew Bates, and then the finishes of the highest quality. We've said that about all 4 goals that we witnessed in this first half. It's been an absolute pleasure and delight to watch this first half performance from Arsenal.
Well, the game is effectively won for Arsenal. The cruelest blow for Middlesbrough to concede that killer one just before half-time, but Arsenal really are looking back to their all-conquering best. 2 from Thierry Henry, a goal in stoppage time in the first half from Perez, and a goal too from Philip Senderos, only his second for the club, mercilessly exposing the inadequacies of this inexperienced Middlesbrough team. Both teams starting the second half as they ended the first. Arsenal forced into that one change in the first 45 minutes when Ashley Cole came on for the injured Pascal Sigon. His comeback coming rather earlier than Arsene Wenger may have hoped, but here's Cole, whose comeback has been enjoyed, and he came on with his team already in a commanding position of 3-0. Arsenal incidentally were 3-0 up here against Everton back in May and went on to score another 4 goals in the second half to complete the rout. That must be the dreaded prospect for Middlesbrough, who couldn't live with their opponents in that first half.
Yeah, you're right, Rob, they couldn't get anywhere near a very dominant Arsenal team, and because of that Steve McLaren has gone with 5 in midfield, only 1 up top. It'll be interesting to see how quickly Arsenal play in this second period, because you know, just human nature, you just take your foot off the gas a little bit. 4-0 ahead, everything's nice and comfortable. Well, the youngster can still smile after having a very difficult afternoon. been caught there by Freddie Ljungberg and Andrew Taylor. Been a baptism of fire, hasn't it, for him at left back?
Ljungberg ran him ragged for the first goal, which set the pattern. Here's Riggott. Now Bates. Parnaby. Offside against Mark Viduka.
I think coming into this game, I don't think there'll be too many Middlesbrough players, or maybe the coaching staff would have thought they're going to get too much out of this game. What you don't want to happen is you get a real good hiding, and at the moment that's what's happening to Steve McLaren's team.
Borough have only ever won once here in the Premiership. It was a day when it clinched the title for Manchester United, and it took 2 Arsenal own goals to secure that victory, the only one that they've achieved in their last 27 visits. So maybe when they leave Highbury for the final time after a Premiership match, they won't be shedding too many tears. Riggott. Go out and win the second half, I suppose, is the only instruction that Steve McLaren could have sent out his team with to try and gain a modicum of respectability.
Maybe the 2 words that would have been talked about more than any, Rob, is pride and passion in that Middlesbrough dressing room at half-time. You know, there's a decent number of fans who've travelled down from Teesside, and they want to see their side show a little bit more of the battling qualities, shall we say, in this second period than what they saw in the first half.
Here's Senderos. Now Taylor. Doriva. Mendieta goes for it himself.
That's a decent attempt. Scored from a spectacular free kick last week. Geisker Mendieta just has a real swing at that with his left foot. Never going to trouble Jens Lehmann. He's got a lot to sort out at the moment. Not just the game here at Highbury, but the way things are going generally this season. You know, league results need to improve. We're still in the UEFA Cup, we're still in the FA Cup.
Morrison. Ljungberg wins his battle with Rockenbach. Got a shove from Yakubu, but the referee's let it run. Yakubu may be a little bit in danger of letting his frustrations get the better of him.
Yeah, and again, I think this is where you really want to keep your players' concentration, because the last thing Steve McLaren will need right now is to lose a player, a foolish sending off.
Yakubu able to play for Middlesbrough today, having declined the opportunity to join up with Nigeria for the African Cup of Nations, a competition that has deprived Arsenal of 1 or 2. Here's Ljungberg. It's a good determined run from Freddie Ljungberg. Oh, Henry is human after all.
Well, it's amazing. You know, he scores 2 great goals, and then arguably the easiest chance goes begging. Great play again from Freddie Ljungberg. The inexperience of Taylor once more gets him caught in a very difficult position to defend against, and once the pullback heads towards Henry, who's got oceans of room, has enough time really to have a touch and finish it off. He decides to take it first time, blazes it high and wide, and everybody in this football ground is absolutely amazed.
Well, I think we were all anticipating then that would be the milestone 150th league goal that would have brought him level with a legend.
He's in front of the famous North Bank as well. A lot of history within this football ground, and of course the North Bank is synonymous with Arsenal.
Rockenbach's kick. Bates looking to bring it down. Is it going to fall for Viduka? No. Cleared by Joru.
Piece of defending from the youngster. One thing I would say about this Middlesbrough side, Rob, is they're looking as if they're a little bit more character and spirit about them at the moment, and they've come out in this second half and they're having a bit of a go. They've responded to their manager's words at half-time.
Mendieta with the corner. Beyond Viduka. Away by Joru. Rockenbach. Yakubu. Reyes digging in hard, but Yakubu getting away from him. Doriva looks to switch it to Morrison. Puts too much on it though.
Well, other than that ball from Doriva, I think that Middlesbrough have generally kept the ball quite well, and unfortunately that was their failing in the first 45 minutes, Rob, because they gave the ball away needlessly in a mood that Arsenal were in. You know, they exploited that.
Ljungberg.
Well, he certainly looks as if he's something back to his best, doesn't he, Freddie Ljungberg? We talked in the first half about the interruptions he's had to this season, but I have to say, his performance today was a throwback to maybe 18 months ago when he was playing so well.
Well, no surprise to see Henry at the centre of the deliberations over the free kick. He and Reyes discussing their options. Flags up, won't count.
Well, it was an interesting one because Thierry Henry shaped to take it first time, then decided Middlesbrough might come out and try and play offside. In the end, the delivery goes into towards the near post. Now, I tell you what, that's a difficult one for the referee's assistant to work out, because there's a lot of blue shirts, and Pires, at the first glance, looks as if he's level. Now, when that ball is struck, you can see there, that's onside. That's a poor decision. That is a poor decision.
Well, I don't think Pires would have been smiling as broadly as he was had the game still been at 0-0.
You talk about Thierry Henry's headers being collector's items. I would imagine Robert Pires has come into that category as well, don't they?
Absolutely. That's probably why he was smiling as he was. Here's Morrison. Rockenbach. Now Ljungberg. Aim for Henry. Bates has to make the header and does. Mendieta. Viduka, possibly gone too soon anyway. Here's Ljungberg. Here's Lauren.
That's a good idea. Henry had that opportunity to just get in front of Matthew Bates. There was a lot of space to run into, but the ball from Lauren didn't have the usual accuracy, certainly what we were used to in the first half. That's as good a 45 minutes as I've witnessed this season, Rob.
Viduka. Here's Mendieta. Lauren. Here's Senderos. Now Ashley Cole. It's over 7 hours of Premiership football now since Arsenal conceded a goal. They haven't let one in since Joe Cole of Chelsea scored against them. Here's Gilberto. Now Henry. Run back by Fabregas. Reyes. Ljungberg.
Well, again, clever passing on that right-hand side. Not an awful lot of space to operate in, but Arsenal seem to just pick out those players with good movement, good accuracy with their play. Sets them up for a free kick. I'm sure Middlesbrough are absolutely delighted to see Thierry Henry walking out to take this. That means he's not going to be a threat in the box, but how many times do you see that? The two centre forwards being involved in a free kick in a wide position.
Still no respite though for Middlesbrough. It's Ljungberg who pulls it back. And Kubu with a miss kick. Lauren. Reyes.
Well, they're just losing that discipline. It's what I talked about just after half-time. That's a poor challenge. I think it's Deriva that's getting a yellow card from Rob Styles, but as Reyes comes inside here, you know what he's going to do. I mean, that's just a poor, sloppy challenge, and I can't understand why he's remonstrating with the referee about his yellow card.
Well, Rob Styles showing a yellow card for the first time today. He's developed a more lenient attitude.
Well, I think he's a far better referee these days, Rob Styles. I think he was very quick to book and send players off in the past, but I've noticed a huge difference to the way that he referees games. There's a far greater tolerance level, and he seems to enjoy refereeing and having banter with the players, and that can only be applauded.
Henry's kick. It's in for number 5 from Gilberto.
Well, you'd have thought they'd have learnt their lesson previously in this second half when Pires scored when he was actually onside, but he got the benefit of the doubt from the referee's assistant. Similar position, same delivery from Henry towards that near post, and again it's another set piece that Middlesbrough don't deal with because they don't mark correctly. Very sloppy, lacking concentration, and they get punished. Fabulous delivery from Henry. Good header from Gilberto. Not an awful lot the goalkeeper can do once more.
First Premiership goal in over 2 years for Gilberto. He scored his first ever Premiership goal in a 4-0 win at Middlesbrough. But he's added to their pain here with a 5th goal against them. And once more, Arsenal back in command.
Well, Middlesbrough had started the second half decent enough, Rob. But you know, there's always that element they're going to concede, such has been the nature of their defending today. And I include everybody in that. You know, it's not just about the back four and the goalkeeper. You know, the midfield players and the strikers need to take a big share of responsibility, especially when you come to a place like Highbury. You know you're going to be under intense pressure, and there's a lot of inexperience in that back four, and that's shown today, but they haven't been helped by what's been in front of them.
Here's Doriva.
And the other problem Steve McClaren's got is he's really got kids on the bench, and he probably won't want to put them into a situation like this. You know, they're the only 2 experienced players. One's a goalkeeper, Mark Schwarzer, the other one, Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, who's probably on his way soon.
Well, they're bringing on another defender. It's David Wheater, who's an England youth international. And Taylor is the man who's gone off. An unhappy debut for the 19-year-old, but Wheater, who's coming on in his place, is also making his Premiership debut. The only other game he'd played before this was as a very, very late substitute in the UEFA Cup tie against Sporting Lisbon back in March.
Well, they just swapped their back four around. Bates will go to right back. Wheater will come in as centre half alongside Chris Riggett. Parnaby will go to left back. Well, it must be a dream for any manager to watch his side play in the fashion that we've seen Arsenal play today. Absolutely outstanding.
Fabio Rockenbach. Here's Mendieta.
Well, I always believed, this season would be a transition season for Arsenal. The fact that Patrick Vieira left the football club, there's a lot of youngsters that they had to blood, and you have to be patient. But I firmly believe if this group are kept together and Arsene Wenger maintains the activity in the transfer market with young, exciting talent, and maybe one or two experienced players just to bolster the squad, then I think that success will come back to Highbury. I really do. I'm not sure whether that's the team sheet or the goal scorers that we've seen.
Well, the investment has already begun this January with the introductions of the exciting prospect from Auxerre, Abu Dhabi, and the Monaco striker, Emmanuel Adebayor.
Well, Diaby trained yesterday for the first time. I can tell you he spent 20 minutes on the training ground and everybody was absolutely amazed by his performance. He is a potential Patrick Vieira in the making.
And it looks as though the spending won't end there, with Theo Walcott being heavily linked with the move here. Brad Jones, the Australian compatriot of Mark Schwarzer, who's had another difficult day in goal. And it may be getting worse. Ljungberg! Well, Henry was free.
Well, I can understand why Freddie Ljungberg took that on. I mean, he's playing with a rich vein of confidence, but put that down to a good save from the goalkeeper. Nice disguised pass from Reyes, and Ljungberg, maybe not a great first touch, just trying to nick a little ball over the goalkeeper, but Jones stood big.
Well, Henry's got 15 goals already this season. Ljungberg's only got one. And that was against Ajax in the Champions League. Here's Senderos. Fabregas. Cole. Even though Arsenal are potentially one match away from winning the Carling Cup final, it is as though, or reaching the Carling Cup final, it is as though Arsene Wenger still places his priority on the Premiership. Chelsea may be a dim and distant prospect for them in terms of catching them, but Wenger knows from experience how you end one season can determine how you begin the next.
Well, he's just trying to get the balance right, Rob, and I think that's the key to success, because what he's doing is he's building up experience for some of these younger players, and he's used the Carling Cup to do that. And you can see the likes of Giroud and Senderos are benefiting from that. I mean, they haven't had a huge test, fair to say, today, but this is still part of their learning curve.
Henry's corner is dealt with. Yakubu. Mendieta. Flags up against Rockenbach. Well, with a position of that comfort, the time for Arsene Wenger to start rotating may be imminent. He's been forced into one change already. Kleb and Flamini have been getting ready to come on and maybe about to be introduced.
Well, you can afford to make substitutions at times like this, such as their dominance and the fact that they're 4 goals ahead, 5 goals rather ahead. Even I'm losing count.
Parnaby. Riggott. Here's Wheater. Mendieta. Mendieta being pursued by Ljungberg, who wins the challenge. Now Gilberto. This is Reyes. Straight through the middle for Henry. It's the hat-trick! It's 150 league goals for Thierry Henry, level with the legend Cliff Bastin. He is a living legend, Thierry Henry.
Well, he's just pointing to Jose Antonio Reyes. It's a fabulous pass, but again, it's a breathtaking counter-attack. Middlesbrough have got decent possession. They get in towards the final third, lose the ball, and then as soon as you know it, Arsenal is straight back down their throats. 6-0, comprehensive. That man in sublime form. Fantastic pass from Jose Antonio Reyes, and again, it's a quality finish, isn't it? He just pulls away from the 2 defenders that were supposed to be marking him, Wheater and Parnaby. The angle is tight, but once again the goalkeeper can do nothing whatsoever with the strike from Henry.
The 8th hat-trick of his Arsenal career. And Thierry Henry, who became the club's leading goal scorer in all competitions a little while ago, is now level in terms of league goals for the club. What a way in front of the North Bank to mark this final season at Highbury. Gilberto and Pires are the men that Arsene Wenger is now resting, and Flamini and Hleb thrown on.
Well, it's party time at Highbury, isn't it? They've been outstanding, dominant, effective, everything that you want to say about a wonderful performance. You can talk all day about some of the deficiencies we've seen from Middlesbrough, but it really has been an outstanding performance by Arsenal.
And if you're going to give your youngsters an education, you might as well go the whole hog. Viduka and Rockenbach being taken off. Lee Catamol, who's had a little run in the first team anyway of late, coming on, and before him we saw Adam Johnson, who made his Premiership debut in different circumstances against Arsenal back in September, also on here. Different circumstances, because at the Riverside it was a win, and yet here he comes on with his team 6-0 down. Fabregas. Wheater's header. Henry's not finished with this yet.
Well, there was a suspicion of handball, wasn't it, from the youngster Wheater? And again, fabulous skill from Thierry Henry. That was a serious claim for a handball. Unfortunately, the referee hasn't got a decent view of it, and certainly the referee's assistant at that far side can't see too much that's going on. He's a long way from the incident.
Corner dealt with. Mendieta gets to it first, but he needs support, and it doesn't arrive quickly enough. Here's Reyes.
That's what Catamol will bring to the game. He loves to get weighed in, this youngster. I've seen him for the last 3 or 4 years, and I tell you what, he's competitive. And I was a little bit surprised, you know, that Steve McLaren didn't decide to play him from the off. He's played in the last 2 games against Newcastle and Nuneaton. And I think this is needed a little bit from a Middlesbrough side. He wins the ball, there's nothing wrong with the challenge. There's no real reason for Rob Stiles to have a word with him, because he does nothing wrong. And I said in the first half, there was none of those Middlesbrough midfield four prepared to make challenges. Now that youngster will do that.
He's done more in the short time that we've seen him on than Rockenbach did in about 70 minutes. Here goes Henry, his shirt was being held there by Doriva, and Rob Stiles saw it, and Doriva, who's on a yellow card, remember, is in trouble, and he is off. It's a second yellow for the Brazilian, and Middlesbrough's day just goes from awful to even worse.
Well, the referee Rob Stiles saying he gave him no alternative, because I think he let Doriva off the hook on maybe a couple of occasions since he has had a yellow card, and once he pulls the shirt of Thierry Henry and Henry doesn't get the vantage that he's looking for, then I think Rob Stiles feels that even in these circumstances he can't be too lenient. Well, no matter which way you try and stop him, you can't really, can you? He is unstoppable.
Doriva has just found that out to his cost. And Thierry Henry, who's lining up the free kick, is told to wait for the whistle. Is there going to be a fourth in the match for Henry? You wouldn't bet against it, would you?
Well, he'll be disappointed not to have hit the target. I mean, it's a long way out, but you know, he scored 3 today. This was number 3. Again, a terrific finish. When he gets into situations like that, it's very rare that he misses chances, and that's why it was such a surprise when he'd scored 2. He missed 1, but went high and wide and handsome over the bar.
Yes, he could have had the record to himself by now. Arsenal could have had more than the 6 they've got, as well as that miss from Henry, the header from Pires that didn't count but should have counted. Could have been 8. Henry sets up this time for Hleb. Same cross, cleared by Bates. Henry. Ashley Cole. Hleb. Reyes. Flamini trying to make something of this. Well, as if Middlesbrough's day hadn't been bad enough, they've now got to hold out for the final quarter of an hour with only 10 men against a rampant Arsenal side who've already scored 6. Henry, Hleb, cleared in the end by Mendieta. Laurent, Ljungberg, Flamini, Senderos, Henry.
Well, he's wearing a new pair of boots today, Thierry Henry, and normally takes a while to break them in, but he's done it with a hat-trick.
An accomplished hat-trick as well from Thierry Henry. Flamini, Reyes, Ljungberg looking to get in around the back of Parnaby.
Well, they're both hurt, Parnaby and Freddie Ljungberg. This is one thing that they won't want Arsenal to take the gloss off. Otherwise, brilliant performance is an injury to a key player. It's been a difficult season for Freddie Ljungberg with injuries, and one aspect that they want is to try and keep their important players fit for the remainder of the season, because they've got the FA Cup, they're still in the Carling Cup, And they've got a couple of big matches against Real Madrid in the Champions League, and while they won't win the league this season, Arsenal, they do want to finish in that top four.
Henry in imperious form today. Ljungberg and Parnaby are both back on their feet, although Ljungberg's movement is not the best yet.
Middlesbrough fan still finding the time and the energy to sing about his football team. I somehow think that it might not have been complimentary.
Here's Johnson. Lauren just trying to hold him up.
They do well, the youngster, just to win a corner. Another player that they've high hopes of, Adam Johnson.
Still looking for a measure of respectability here. Riggott can't reach the header though. It's fallen here to Bates. And the flag has stayed down, and oh, he's hit the bar, Chris Riggott. Yakubu on the follow-up, and Lehmann claws it away, and they can't even get the consolation, but they were so close.
Well, those two decent chances, wasn't it? Lehmann got interested in the second one from Yakubu, but he doesn't know an awful lot about the first one. He decides to stay on his line, and the strike from Riggott had enough pace and power.
In goes Wheater to challenge, and the free kick's given for the heavy challenge.
Well, a little bit unfortunate, aren't they, Middlesbrough, to not have registered a goal. This was the first one, the strike from Riggott that hits the crossbar. Lehmann can do nothing about this time. He gets a little bit more interested in it and just manages to preserve that clean sheet that he's looking to keep.
We're fifth in the row in the Premiership if Arsenal do hold out. Yellow card for Lauren.
It was a blatant challenge, wasn't it, against young Adam Johnson. Johnson certainly got the energy and the skill to take on Lauren.
Mendieta with a kick this time. Catamol challenging. It could be exposed here. Arsenal are flooding forward. Cole. Henry first time to Reyes. Oh, well, they did enough in the end.
Well, again, it's another breathtaking counter-attack. We've seen it time and time again, Rob. One end to the other in rapid time. It's a fabulous ball from Reyes across the face of the goal. Fabregas does well to get into any semblance of a goal-scoring opportunity, and in the end it's just scrambled away to safety, and this really could have been double figures today.
Flamini. Ljungberg. Arsenal corner.
He's been outstanding, hasn't he, Freddie Ljungberg? Mind you can go right around this Arsenal side, and it's been flawless.
Senderos got his goal from a corner in the first half. The worry for Middlesbrough is that there's still just under 10 minutes left. Yakubu got to the corner. Danger's not cleared though. It's Hleb who drives it. Flamini trying to pick up the pieces, but Yakubu hooks it away from immediate danger. Cole. Henry. Oh.
Showtime.
Well, you can't blame him.
Well, I think you might see this over and over again, in particular Soccer AM. There you go. Absolutely superb.
Here's Johnson. Well, pretty much how Middlesbrough's day has gone. Here he goes again. What's he got in his locker this time? It's Hleb. Wheater making the tackle, getting the ball.
I think Thierry Henry's performance is probably the best individual performance you've ever seen, Rob?
Today.
Well, never mind today. I think any game that you've seen, I mean, how many performances over the period of what, sort of nearly all the game now, everything that you've seen from him, his goals?
Yeah, I mean, the thing that impresses about him is that he's able to turn it on so consistently.
Well, I just think he's been fantastic from start to finish. I think the pace that he's shown, I think the touch, the ability to bring other players into the game. You know, all right, he's maybe showboating a wee bit at the moment, but you know, he's earned that right to do that.
And the good news for Arsenal is that he's making far more encouraging noises now about staying here. Here's Hleb, now Freddie Ljungberg's made the run. Challenge was on the edge of the area and Parnaby won the ball anyway.
He needed to be right, didn't he, with that challenge? Sure, Parnaby, and he did get it right. Once again, Freddie Ljungberg just having a little foray inside, nearly getting his rewards for it.
Fabregas. Here's Giroud.
Is this the biggest defeat Steve McClaren will ever have had as a manager?
I think it probably is. I mean, he started with a 4-0 defeat by Arsenal. So
it's a big learning curve for him. I mean, his time at Middlesbrough has been pretty good up to recent months. He got the club into Europe on 2 occasions. One of those is through a league position, the other time winning the League Cup. So you know, this is an interesting period for his managership.
Here's Henry. Lines it up this time. It's fallen to Hleb. It's 7. Absolutely incredible. Alexander Hleb celebrates his first goal for Arsenal in a truly awesome display.
Well, while Henry might not have scored the 7th goal, Robbie was very influential within the creativity of it. A number of players down injured, one of them Jose Antonio Reyes. But Hleb, again, joins a long list of goal scorers that have scored in emphatic fashion here today. But it's just really the breathtaking way in which Arsenal have counter-attacked during the course of the afternoon that's brought them so many goals. Brave play from Reyes. He sets up the opportunity for the incoming Alexander Hleb. And really has been a marvellous performance to witness here. I talked about whether I'd seen a better individual performance than Thierry Henry. I don't think I've seen a better team performance than what I've seen here today at Highbury, Rob.
Well, it looked a bit worrying for Jose Antonio Reyes at first, a bit more encouraging now. He was actually able to jog off. Sven-Göran Eriksson has seen enough. I'm sure one or two of the Middlesbrough fans feel like making the early exit that he has. Reyes wasn't off the field for too long. Mendieta looked to push on Senderos. Doesn't matter in the end for Arsenal. Henry. Fabregas. Everyone feels like getting in on the scoring act now. Ljungberg dives in. Hleb. Well,
it really could have been double figures. I mean, I do think there was a suspicion of handball from Freddie Ljungberg when this ball came through to him, but Hleb just lashes out with his left foot He really ought to have scored, but you'll forgive him that miss, as you would probably Henry's chance that went begging. But, what a fantastic performance, and not one of the Arsenal fans are leaving this ground because they want to give their team a standing ovation when Rob Styles blows that whistle for full time. They've enjoyed every moment of this. I must admit, after the interval I thought, what sort of mood are Arsenal going to be in the second half? Are they going to take their foot off the gas? Well, they haven't. They've kept it firmly on the accelerator. They've gone on and scored more goals, and they really have been outstanding.
Here's Yakubu Mendieta. Not even a crumb of comfort for Middlesbrough.
Well, Steve will try and look at this video of this match again. I'm sure it'll take him a while before he dares put it in the video recorder at home, but he'll need to look at it.
They've given it away to Fabregas, and here's Ljungberg's moment. Denied by Jones, his first Premiership goal of the season.
Well, again, awful play from Middlesbrough, giving the ball away. Very nearly punished again. Good save though from Brad Jones. That's 2 saves he's made. 2 glaring misses that Arsenal have had in the shape of Kleb and Henry. I think that would have made it 11-0.
Well, it's bad enough for Middlesbrough what it is, let alone without what it could have been. Could they just give themselves a bright spot here? They've won a corner.
Well, what a learning curve this is for the youngsters. You know, the likes of Wheater and Catamol and Bates, and you know, they're all getting exposed at the moment from the failings from all sorts of areas of the field, being guilty of giving the ball away in crucial areas, Middlesbrough. But they've been thoroughly punished, and that's the mark of a good side, and people think that this Arsenal side is in decline. Well, you might have to think again.
Maybe Giroud could have left this one, but he's conceded the corner anyway, and from it, Flamini clears. Henry. Here's Bates.
Well, people have questioned the body language, shall we say, of Thierry Henry this season. Well, you could quite question his body language today, Rob, can you? He's been interested from the first minute to the last.
Well, you were talking in the first half about how he's been struggling through with injury lately, so that if this is only a half-fit Henry, dread to think what he'll be like when he gets his full match fitness back. Here's Giroud. Middlesbrough, I'm sure, would be quite happy to see no stoppage time indicated whatsoever. But they are going to have to endure further agony here because there is 2 extra minutes. Ashley Cole. Quietly satisfied. Here's Cole. Henry. Kleb. Ljungberg. Booking.
Yeah, I think Rob Styles is just saying to young Lee Catamol, you know, that's your 3rd one, so I'm going to give you a yellow card, but you know, maybe it's a little bit too little too late, but there's one thing, he shook up 1 or 2 Arsenal players with some robust challenges, and I think that's what's needed. There's too many of these Middlesbrough players who've just rolled over today in the face of some excellent Arsenal pressure, it has to be said.
Well, is Thierry Henry going to round off a great team day, a great individual day, with a fourth goal to make him the club's record league goal scorer? That's what's available to him here. Comes back off the wall, and Reyes misses the target.
It was a decent block. I think it was young Wheater who got himself in the way. Good strike from Henry.
Awesome Arsenal, the complete team display, a flawless individual display from their hat-trick scoring captain Thierry Henry, a hat-trick that puts him on 150 league goals for the club, level with the all-time record scorer Cliff Bastin. Goals too for Senderos, Pires, Gilberto, and a first for the club for Chleb to make it 7-0 against Middlesbrough, whose day of woe was added to by the sending off of Doriva. But really this is all about the magnificent contribution of Henry, a truly outstanding display from Arsenal, the second time in 8 months that they've put 7 goals past Premiership opponents without reply. They did it to Everton in May. Today it was Middlesbrough's turn to be on the wrong end of an Arsenal team firing on all cylinders. Arsenal 7, Middlesbrough 0.